Oh, Pearson gets into the 95 of Folks. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona, and away we go for the first time. Nicholas Porcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Doms, possibly a little bit of contact.
Now, as we've got three wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let him go very far.
Nice to go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
See just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
New stuff. Cody Graham's the one-on-one up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out, and away we go for the very first time here at Okayama International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the League Zero Racing Series, the premier Formula iRacing League. We are at Mugello for the Tuscan Grand Prix, and looking forward to another night of action here with these Super Formula drivers. As always, I'm your host, James E. Spring to action 1080p frames a second. As right now, drivers making their way out on track. Let's run through the grid. On pole, the defending champ, Jaden Calloway. Jazzy Zuhair starting second. Craig Brick starting third. Nick Beaver starting fourth. Adam Plunkett starting fifth. Julian Medor starting sixth. Nick Peterson starting seventh. Andrew Neri starting 8th, Leo Delmas starting 9th, Morris starting 10th, Antonio Bianchi starting 11th, Dustin Oberlo will start 12th. Let's cycle it on back to Jacob Bramley starting 13th, Xavier Zanave starting 14th, Gareth McAllister, the world-famous Aussie, starting 15th, David Iezzi starting 16th, Matt Foster starts 17th, Ray Aguilar starting 18th, Christian Gritzko starting 19th, Zachary Bowman starting 20th, Arturo Mayorga starting 21st, Jace Meyer will round out the 22-car grid here today. Got Robert McLaughlin join us in the spectator area cheering on his favorite drivers. Getting ready to watch a great show out here tonight. As always, let us know where you're from, who you're cheering on, as drivers will frequently have this broadcast pulled up, and if they don't, they just about always go back and watch this over again. Now, a few drivers were ineligible to qualify here tonight. Christian Gritzko has to start from pit road. Ray Aguilar, Zachary Bowman also serving qualifying penalties the round prior. That's a few fast drivers we're going to see starting toward the back here. A little bit uncharacteristic starting position. Eye out on Ray Aguilar, that number 72, starting all the way back in 18. Christian Gritzko, Jace Meyer jumped to pit road. And as the lights go off, we are underway here at Mugello. And already I'm seeing problems. I saw somebody being launched up in the air. Greg Brick was involved in that one as he pulls over to the side. So a very early night for fireworks. Things are still dicey up front. Callaway hold on to the race lead. Jazzy Zuhair in second. There's Adam Plunkett sitting in third, the number 40 machine, with an absolute freight train of drivers right behind him. Now Craig Brick did take a tow back to pit road. I almost wonder, I think that might have been Jace Meyer we saw involved in that starting line incident. Adam Plunkett's going to try and hammer down here. Giving Keith Peterson, Beaver, Aguilar. Where did Aguilar come from? Is already up 12 spots on the opening lap here. Started 18 and is taking absolutely no prisoners. Oh, I just saw, I think that was Willie Morris off in the gravel there. Leo Delmas was also briefly involved in it. I don't think that was together. As there goes Christian Gritzko. Morris trying to get that thing fired back up, getting the gravel kicked off the tires. I think I've got some sort of going on up here in the booth. Ray Aguilar still moving up the field. He's got Adam Plunkett in his sights. Plunkett looking forward there at Nick Peterson. Theo Delmas coming down pit road to get repairs done. Now again, the rule, if you're a newcomer here watching one of the League Zero events, if you take a tow to pit road, you are done and out of that event. We've got 13 laps on board for the sprint, and we're going to run 26 in the feature event. Adam Plunkett, he fell out of that podium position thanks to Nick Peterson gaining his first spot. And oh man, is Aguilar absolutely ripping that number 70 machine. Plunkett doing a good job here, but that's going to be a tough driver to hold at bay. Again, that's Aguilar, who has made extremely quick work through the field here. Aguilar trying to set something up here against Plunkett. Oh, and it's going to be a three-car battle for fourth. Aguilar making the move on Plunkett. Looks like Bieber in the number 87 machine trying to work the inside line, and there's Antonio Bianchi as well. Number 17 machine finds himself right here in the mix. So things are still all but decided inside the top 5. We've got an incident reported out on track. Looked like that was Gareth McAllister. What happened to McAllister? They're 25, the world famous Aussie. Pushes a little bit wide, might have grabbed some dirty runoff there and spins it around, and that number 25 backed race machine. Right now the top 5 is Callaway, Zuhair, Peterson. They're in the top 3. Aguilar and Bieber make up the top 5. Oh, we're having some technical difficulties up here in the broadcast booth. Go back to Adam Plunkett, the number 40 machine. Down 2 spots, running 7th. And he's got Julian Bedore in the 78 trying to fight back up towards the front. Let's see, there's also Andrew Neri, has a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact with Plunkett. Thankfully, no incident there. This is the wheel-to-wheel racing we come out to watch each and every week here at League Zero. Neri right behind Plunkett. He showed him the wheel a couple of times. I think he's going to try and make another run at it. Doesn't want to lose too much time because it looks like Jacob Bramley closing up behind the number 6. Bramley has been able to gain 3 spots so far this event as well. So good to see drivers making some big charges throughout the field. And back up to Shazi Zuhair in second. A great spot here, kind of in no man's land. He's about 3.8 seconds back from race leader Callaway and about 2.7 seconds up from Nick Peterson. And if we pan back to Peterson, we've got Aguilar and Bieber starting to close up behind him. I'm excited to see here. We haven't had the opportunity to get out with Aguilar in races prior, be a part-time entry here in the Super Formula machines, but every time we see him out on track, all sorts of excitement, and he's one of the drivers that only gets faster as the night progresses. Looks like Aguilar is starting to catch up to people. Got another crash report. This time it's Jace Meyer, that number 20 machine. Same spot that McAllister had his incident as well. The curbing really getting into the drivers here, and Meyer will unfortunately take a tow back to pit road, retiring early from the sprint. So hopefully we see that bright pink number 20 back out on track for the feature. Galloway up front, clicking off fast laps of the race down to a low 126. Plunkett and Neri still having a battle for 8th. We saw these two make contact just a lap and a half prior. Neri trying to find an opening against that number 40 machine, but man, Plunkett's making them really work for it here. Neri's still trying everything he can against Plunkett. Jacob Bramley, the bright yellow number 6, still watching that battle just ahead of him. Now Plunkett and Neri surely moving some big air with all the side-by-side action. But I wonder if Bramley's just kind of biding his time, and Bramley might have seen that wheel-to-wheel contact earlier and said, you know what, I'm going to let these guys try and sort this out. And something has happened. Nick Bieber finds himself up in 4th. Aguilar had an off-track excursion, that 72. Aguilar was going to be pushing very hard in Brent, having to start back from pit road and a little bit wide. Thankfully keeps it in the right direction. But now is going to be Peterson that Bieber has his sights on, that final podium spot. Galloway gets down to a high 1 minute 25 here. And there we go, still side by side, Neri and Plunkett. Plunkett's going to have the inside line, and it's 1. And we'll be able to hold on to that 8th place spot a little while longer. But now Jacob Bramley squarely in the mix. We're going to try and get it onboard queued up for Bramley. There we go, on board Jacob Bramley, that number 6. The two drivers ahead of him have been battling very, very fiercely. And that gives you a great idea of the speed drivers are hitting here, Mugello. Looks like the top trap speeds we're seeing in the low 190 mile an hour range. So in these Super Formula machines, it is a handful to stay up at pace. Now, the faster you go, the more aero you have, and generally leads to a happier car. One little mistake, as we've seen several drivers tonight, a very quick way to find yourself spinning off track. Neri trying to get another run here against Plunkett. Both drivers hitting the push to pass almost exactly the same time. Now Neri's going to try the outside here once more, but Plunkett's been doing a great job guarding the inside. And Bramley deep on the brakes. Tries to edge out Neri there. Neri having to run a little bit more wide line than he's been in the past. Plunkett's going to pull about 4/10 advantage there. But man, what a massive send from Bramley in that number 6 machine. Also looks like things are tightening up for 3rd. You've got Peterson, Beaver, and now Aguilar within a second of each other, and we have another incident reported. It's going to be once more McAllister, and this is resulting in a tow for the 25. I think it's the exact same spot he had the earlier incident, but unfortunately not going to be able to keep it off the safety barrier. Takes that tow back to pit road. Oh, we've got some sort of big issue there. Like Adam Plunkett takes a tow at the right time. What happened to Plunkett there? The number 40 machine very well. It's Bramley right behind. Something had happened. Plunkett was missing the wing. What happened to Plunkett's, I wonder? But still here at this point. Harry grabs the spot. Oh, gets tagged by Jacob Bramley. Looks like Plunkett just kind of pulled over there in an inopportune spot and think very, very bad very quickly. Here's the battle for third is Nick Peterson, who's up 4 spots versus Nick Beaver. Beaver qualified for it. Currently 4th on the circuit. Aguilar still about 8/10 behind this upcoming battle for third. Got 007 cheering on, I think it's Racing. Hopefully I said that correctly. Peterson doing a great job here, holding on to third, keeping Beaver around a 1/4 of a second back. Got 3 laps left to go in this sprint. I almost wonder if Peterson is maybe hoping Aguilar is going to get up there and get in the mix, but here comes Beaver. Beaver's on the push to pass, makes the move for third, very clean. We're diving in one. Aguilar running out of time here if he's going to try and squeeze play up on the podium. Checking in on Christian Gritzko. Taking the inside line against Xavier Zanave, the flying Frenchman, piloting the green and yellow 12 that you see on screen. Callaway, a commanding lead out front, holds 9 seconds up over the rest of the field. Jazzy Zuhair in second, Nick Beaver sitting in that final podium spot. Peterson and Aguilar rounding out the current top 5. There's Jacob Bremen. I wonder if he has any damage on the front of that number 6 machine. From that incident with Adam Plunkett just a couple laps prior. Now we've whittled it down to 6 drivers out on track. Now unfortunately, Arturo Mayorga did not start this event, so not quite sure what happened there. A shame not to see Mayorga out on track here tonight. Hopefully we get him out on the circuit for the feature event. On board with Christian Gritzko. Pulls out alongside Bramley. Bramley's going to try and guard that inside line, but I think Gritzko is going to get it happening here. Yes, he does. Completes the pass. Nice and check back in on race leader Jaden Callaway. Has extended that lead to 0.5 seconds up over the rest of the field. Callaway is absolutely gone for this one, ladies and gentlemen. I will say Callaway really needed the points tonight. He's had a series of rough races here. Came into tonight 4th in points, 131 points back from Ray Aguilar. Aguilar having a pretty okay evening despite the qualifying ban. Aguilar has made up 13 positions tonight and worked his way up into that sprint, so that's going to put him in a good starting position for the feature. And Callaway out front, just hot lapping a new fastest lap of the race, a 125.95. But we also have a battle for 4th. Aguilar sets it up against Peterson and makes it happen. Looked like Peterson had to hit the binders there a little bit to avoid getting into Aguilar. So that's going to allow the 72 grab his 14th spot of the night. And the white flag will be out next time by for Jaden Callaway. No lap traffic ahead of the number 1 machine. Is looking good here and very, very clean throughout the race. Mary had a bit of a bobble there in the 6th, 4th. Thankfully not going to lose spot with that one. He's about 7 seconds up over. So 6.4 is where he did off a ton of time there with that off-track excursion. Shazi Zuhair trying to hold on to second, but here comes Nick Beaver behind. White flag is out for Jaden Calloway. Another fastest lap of the race, a 125.783. Here's the battle for second. Beaver on the push to pass, pulls up alongside Zuhair. Zuhair's going to try and beat him on the brakes. It looks like Beaver's going to get through that one. That's the second spot gain for the 87 machine. Puts him a little bit higher up on the podium. I think right now Zuhair's going to latch on to the back of that 87 machine. Knowing he's got a 2-second gap over Aguilar in fourth. Zuhair, I think, would be very happy with a podium to start the night off. Zuhair came into tonight. He is fifth in points. Here's highest finish of the season was a second at Road Atlanta back on January 18th, so he decided to get some momentum going here. And here we go. Put your hands together. Jaden Calloway has some momentum, builds back up in his favor, picks up a huge win at the sprint. And again, the fastest lap of the race as he does it. Calloway back on top here. Nick Beaver will finish second in the sprint. And Shazi Zuhair will round out the top three. And try and get these drivers up here to victory lane. Got Beaver, who quickly made his way up to the booth. And now we're going to wait on Jaden Calloway and Shazi Zuhair. We've got Calloway. Now we just wait on Shazi Zuhair. Like we've got everybody here. We're going to start things off with Mr. Shazi Zuhair bringing it home in third. Shazi, since been Road Atlanta, we saw you on the podium last with a second, and like you definitely had to work for it in this sprint here tonight.
Yeah, James, unfortunately I lost second to Nick there in the second and last lap. Everyone had like extremely good pace. I saw Ray was catching up near the end there as well. I just had some struggle keeping it on the track properly there. Just sliding a lot for me, and just the rest of the guys had a lot of pace. So congrats to Jaden as well on the win. I know he's had some bad luck recently, so hopefully this turns it around for him.
Now, Shazi, you talked about the pace by everybody seems pretty matched. Now that you have the laps dialed in from the sprint race, do you think that's going to help with the going into the feature, and is that also going to work in your favor with the track position?
It might help with track position, but I know like the guys behind are I think they had a bit more pace than me. I have a skill for being consistently slow, so maybe that might come true in this race as well. So hopefully we can make some positions or get another podium, but we'll see how it goes.
Shazi, it's always a pleasure talking to you, my friend. Good to have you back up here in the top three. Before I let you sign off and get ready for the feature, who do you want to give a shout out to that helps make it happen?
As always, a shout out to my wife and my cat, and then also a shout out to my teammate as well. He had a great result last time out. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it today, so hopefully the next few races he has some good results as well.
Awesome. Shazi, always a pleasure, my friend, and best of luck in the feature.
Likewise. Thanks, James.
That was Shazi Zuhair bringing it home in third. Up next, longtime friend Nick Beaver. Welcome back to the top two. And Nick, I've got to say, it's uncharacteristic to see you getting up to pace this quickly.
Honestly, I completely agree with you. Especially since I purchased this track about 30 minutes before joining the session. Um I could not find any pace during practice. Then qualifying seemed to work pretty well. And then I had a lot of rabbits to chase at the beginning of the race there. That's kind of, the start was kind of iffy. But I was able to work off of what the guys in front of me were doing.
We're on this next start, only going to be one guy off the line ahead of you. That's going to be Callaway. So is that going to be beneficial to maybe try and latch onto the back of the number one machine and find more pace throughout the feature?
I think so. However, I'm abysmal with cold tires, and if I can manage holding on to second, I bet he'll have a 3-second gap by the end of the first lap. That guy has amazing pace. It's very impressive. So I could only dream to have pace like that, but we've got 26 laps to figure it out. Maybe we'll get close.
Nick, always a pleasure talking to you, man. Good to have you back up here in second. And before I let you go, get ready for the feature. Who do you want to give a shout to that helps make it happen for you?
Well, thanks for putting on the broadcast, James. Always look forward to going back and watching it. And I've got Hannah spectating in person behind me. So hello, Hannah. Could have told her that in person, but she gets a shout out on the stream. So here we go.
Attaboy, absolutely nailed it. Nick, congratulations again, and hope to have you back up here following the feature.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Sure. That was Nick Beaver bringing it home in second, but my oh my, who do we have here? Jaden Callaway. It has been way too long, buddy, since we've had you up here in the booth.
I know, right? It's been way too long.
Now, Jaden, it's been a series of bad luck, unfortunate events, and just all around a no-good, rotten season so far. But, man, how good does it feel to kind of get that monkey off your back a little bit and have some momentum and a dominant win out here tonight?
Yeah, it feels great. As you said, the past few weeks have been pretty bad, so it definitely feels really nice to get this results for the sprint.
Now, Jaden, I've talked to plenty of champions here at League Zero over the years. I've been calling the action, and one thing that's kind of come to mind in the past, we've seen other champs in your where things just aren't really going the way you're hoping for, and it kind of wears you down. So how have you been able to mentally overcome the 5 races of bad luck and keep that positive attitude?
I always just try to keep pushing. If I give up, there's a 0% chance that I'm going to win anything. So just keep giving it my all, keep giving it everything, keep pushing.
Jaden, it's good to see, sincerely, to have that thing turn around and get you back on the top step, sporting plate. What's the plan in the future? You obviously had raw pace. Brent, are you just going to try and break away from the pack as quick as you can here?
I am going to keep the guy behind me as far away as possible from the back of my car. That's my plan.
Yeah, historically, that's kind of been the problem. Have you painted a target or anything back of the number?
Yeah, I guess I have. On all of my oval cars, I have a big hit me sticker on the back, so I guess that's transferred over to this car somehow.
Yeah, not known for bump drafting. Jane, again, sincerely good to have you back up here in the top spot, turning things around. We wish you the best of luck in the field. Before I let you go and kind of unwind before the next one, who do you want to give a shout to that helped put you back in that number 1 spot?
Yeah, as always, I'm going to shout out my friends and family watching and supporting. I'm going to shout out my team, Squid Gang Racing, and I want to give a shout out to Shaji. He did a great job. He got the podium tonight, and we're going to be doing the Bathurst 12-hour tomorrow. So shout out to him too.
Best of luck to you guys, my friend. Jaden, always a pleasure, and best of luck to you, Shazi, as well in the Aussie 12-hour.
I appreciate it, James.
Sure. That was Jaden Callaway bringing it home, that number 1 spot. He was accompanied by Nick Beaver and Shazi Zuhair, the top 3. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more action here at League Zero as we get ready to send them back out for the feature event. All right, race fans, we are back. It is time for the feature event. I'm going to change something up here. I got a word that we're having a little bit of problem in the booth as far as not getting all the audio picked up, so we're going to try and make some adjustments here. Big thanks to an old-time friend, Michael Fairchild, letting us know there was a few things amiss on that one. Now, as a reminder, the grid is set by where you finished in the sprint race. That's going to put Callaway Beaver on that front row, Shazi Zuhair, Ray Aguilar, your second row, Peterson and Bianchi, your third row. And it looks like the grid is set here. Unfortunately, Arturo Mayorga is not going to be joining us once more for this one. But we are underway. There's smoke everywhere. And let's see if drivers get off the line into turn one cleanly. During the sprint, there's a little bit of shenanigans at the start-finish line straight. Now keep an eye out. Callaway is going to try and hammer down. He does not want to get rear-ended again in that number one machine. Aguilar in second, Beaver in third. So Aguilar quickly cutting through the field here, not wanting Callaway to break away. Now, as a reminder to the fans, there's a mandatory tire stop during this feature event. Everybody has enough fuel to make it till the end. And there's some heated action out on track. This is 11th place Dustin Oberlo. Finds himself battling with Craig Brick, Xavier Zanave, Gareth McAllister, Jacob Bramley's in this pack as well. Now, it's always interesting to me to see the different strategies at play. Some guys pushing hard early on, some drivers opting to play it safe. We've got Dylan Waldron joining us in the spectator area. And he's cheering all the Canadians out on track. That's going to be Shazi Zuhair, Julian Mador, Christian Gritzko, and Antonio Bianchi will make up the Canadians out on track for this feature event. Ryan Tebow joins us in the spectator area. Shame not to see him out on track, but always good having him tune in, supporting the other drivers. He's cheering on Ray Aguilar, sitting in second in that number 72 machine. Zachary Bowman has come down pit road. I wonder if he has some sort of damage on that 96 machine. Odd to see him down pit road here early on, but maybe opting to take his tires very early on, and then we'll run the rest of the race in one swoop. Gareth McAllister, Xavier Zanave side by side for 13th. Jacob Bramley's going to slide through there as well. Hints at 3 wide, isn't able to stick his nose in against McAllister. So that will be the 5th spot gain for McAllister, and now he's going to try and put work in against Dustin Oberlo in the 42. Just ahead of them as well. Craig Brick right behind Andrew Neri, tries the outside line, makes it stick against Neri. Oh, and there's somebody off track. Is that McAllister? Yes, it was. So tonight, the Tuscan Grand Prix racing at Mugello, the Italian road course. And from what the drivers told us earlier on, a very difficult place to make passes. So far, the start-finish line has been the go-to place to make big moves. Drivers having to really lean on the push-to-pass during the sprint to make that happen. As we just watched Jacob Bramley making something happen. Andrew Neri's going to come down pit road, though. And from about 10th place back seems to be where all the action is. Oh, I just saw a little bit of a moment there. That was Xavier Zanave. Looked like he lost a little bit of traction, had a micro lockup. Thankfully, the car didn't rotate too much. But that stacked up David Iezzi and Adam Plunkett right behind him. Jace Myers in that battle as well, the bright pink number 20 machine. So something has happened to Zachary Bowman. We saw him come down pit road, but just now getting back out on track, both Leo Delmas and Andrew Neri in and out of their pit stalls already, so I'm not quite sure what happened to Bowman there on that one. We check in up front is Jaden Calloway, with Aguilar about a half second back from that number 1 machine. It's the current points leader in second versus the defending champ up in first. Now you remember, Aguilar got into the back of Calloway last week, and that's what led to Aguilar's qualifying ban. So what's the move going to be from Ray Aguilar? Is he going to stay behind Calloway and just pace the number 1? Minimize the points loss, or are we going to see Aguilar go for it here? Dustin Oberlo makes the pass on Xavier Zanave. Iezi in the 29 also tries to follow suit. There's Adam Plunkett closing the gap at number 40. Plunkett didn't have the sprint race he was looking for with that damage to the rear wing. We know he has pace, so let's see if he can get things going back in his favor. There's Plunkett, the number 40 machine tucked in behind the 29 of Iezi. And looks like this pack staying pretty close together. Jace Meyer trying to close back up, see if he can tuck in behind Plunkett. Maybe work that draft on the start-finish line a little bit. Maybe even save some push to pass. There's your race leaders, Calloway and Aguilar crossing the line. Aguilar shows 0.08 of a second faster than Calloway on that lap. He's right in tow of Calloway. I don't know what the move's going to be. Adam Plunkett down pit road for an early stop as well. So already seeing some different tire strategies at play. Some drivers that you're seeing, such as Plunkett, Delmas, Neri, Bowman, coming in very, very early. And they will minimize the time they spent on cold tires, opting to run the remaining 20 to 24 laps, depending on their pit stop, on that set of tires. I think other drivers are going to wait till the very end here, because the rule is you cannot box on the first lap and you cannot box on the second lap. On board with the Ray Aguilar, the 72 machine. Very smooth on the inputs. It seems to be kind of just pacing Jace Meyer here. In practice, Aguilar was the fastest driver out on track. But again, had that qualifying penalty where he wasn't allowed out on track. And we're going to leave this camera angle here until we get through turn 1, because this is just such a great sight. Calloway answers with the fastest lap of his own. Christian Gritzko making a big dive into turn 1. That's going to be against Nick Peterson's number 24. That's going to be the third position Gritzko has made here tonight. Another driver has been running very, very well. Also looks like Dustin Oberlo, Gareth McAllister are going to go side by side. Xavier Zanave watches from behind. Ooh, I think that was McAllister off track there. Zanave tries to get set up, and he's going to do so nice and clean against McAllister. McAllister kicking some more dirt up there. And here comes David Iezi. He's going to join the fray in a very busy battle for 12th. Jace Meyer, again, another driver that seems kind of content watching this one. It's a relatively long feature event for these drivers. And as we saw in the sprint, attrition was definitely a factor for those having issues. So looks like things are going to keep going with good forward momentum. Oberlo sitting in the 12th place spot, holds about 3/4 of a second up over McAllister. Hard Charger out on track though. That's going to be Craig Brick in the number 7. He has gained 11 positions so far in this one. His closest competition is going to be Willie Morris, the number 46 machine, who sits in the 10th place spot. You can also just barely see Jacob Bramley popping up in frame, the all-yellow number 6. Gareth McAllister is starting to track down Oberlo here. They had a little bit of back and forth. McAllister had a couple of compounding off tracks. Seems like McAllister's been really fighting the car in track here tonight at the Tuscan Grand Prix. We've seen an uncharacteristic amount of off tracks from the Aussie driver. And what is going on there? McAllister's internet not doing him any favor. We just saw all 4 wheels pop off that race machine and magically reappear. Also looks like Peterson has taken over the 6th place spot from Gritsko, putting Gritsko back down into 7th. Callaway up front, still clicking off fast laps. And there's McAllister looking for a line against Oberlo, who's going to shoot to the inside line in turn 1, trying to beat him on the brakes. Looks like Oberlo knows he's there, but that's going to put a little bit of contact between the two. That was going to put Oberlo on the inside line for the next corner. It looks like it happened. Oh, something has happened to Christian Gritsko. Looks like it's going to be a solo incident. Does he grab a little bit too much curbing? Yes, he does. Sends it sliding around. Thankfully, keeps it off the wall. That's going to put Gritsko back into 11th. Oh, and what just happened there? Oberlo missing the rear wing. Let's get a little bit further angle pulled back. Was there contact between the two? Contact? I don't know if that was Nedco. Sure looked like contact. But takes the rear wing off of Oberlo's 42 machine. I think that's going to allow Jace Meyer to get another spot here in the 20, as Oberlo is going to be very off pace with no rear aero. Yeah, I think Oberlo knows as well. Pulls off the line, helping to facilitate that pass. Now Christian Gritsko and David Iezzi, as well as Gareth McAllister, all come down pit road together. Dustin Oberlo will follow suit. Hopefully he'll be able to get a rear wing tacked onto that race machine. Nine laps in, the top 12 drivers have yet to box here today, as Callaway and Aguilar up front still maintain about a half-second gap between the two of them. Little bit of lap traffic ahead of the race leaders. That's going to be Zachary Bowman, the 96 machine. Oh, and it's a 3-car shootout into turn 1. It's Morris, Bramley, and Mador there. Oh, almost wheel to wheel goes Bramley and Morris. Craig Brick not too far ahead as well, running 7th in the number 7 machine. So some ferocious racing out on track. Now Dustin Oberlo was in his pit stall for 43 seconds. Does he have a rear wing as he rejoins the circuit? Yes, he does. So the pit crew able to work a little bit of magic there. And Christian Gritsko, unfortunately, going to take a tow back to pit road, retiring the number 91 machine. And what I think was unfortunately a solo incident. Yeah, just pushed way too wide there. Thankfully didn't spin out onto a hot track, and I think I just saw something break free on the front left of the car. So Gritsko will be joining the list of drivers retired here. We're focusing on Willie Morris, the 46. He's got Craig Brick ahead of him and Xavier Zanave behind. These drivers separated by about a second and a half. Either way, Willie Morris looks. But Bramley closing the gap fairly quickly there, the number 6 machine. Bramley up 1 spot from where he started this feature. We got Jeremy Barber here. He's cheering on Zach Bowman and Gareth McAllister. Bowman running 18th on the circuit. McAllister running 20th in the number 25. Bramley in the tow of both Brick and Morris. Is anybody going to hop out of line here in turn 1? Looks like Brick guarding the inside line. Morris going to try the long way around that number 7 machine. That'll set him up for the next left-hander. It's going to be tight. Oh, nothing but respect amongst these drivers as Jacob Bramley almost gets in the back of Morris there. I don't know if Brick and Morris even knew Bramley was that close behind. They were having such a intense wheel-to-wheel moment. And these drivers separated by about 6/10 every which way you look. Let's check back in on Jaden Calloway, who's led every lap here so far tonight. So next time by for Callaway, we'll be displaying the halfway mark. And we have another incident reported showing Jacob Bramley, the number 6 machine, involved. Oh, just loses the rear end. Does he keep it off the wall? Just barely so. So thankfully for Bramley, not as bad as that incident could have been. Now look at this. Callaway pulling away from Aguilar has gained a 1.2 second gap over the current points leader. As he comes out in the start-finish line straight, he'll be shown the cross green and white. It's the halfway mark in today's feature. And Callaway clicks off the fastest lap as he does it. Now Ray Aguilar and Nick Beaver have come down pit road right at the halfway mark for their 1 required tire stop. Let's see how long Callaway opts to stretch it out for. That's going to put Shazi Zuhair up into 2nd. Antonio Bianchi now up into 3rd. Antonio Bianchi also has Nick Peterson, the number 24 machine, closing up behind right at 9/10, separating the 3rd and 4th place drivers here. Bianchi, the black and gold number 17 machine. There's Peterson, the teal and white 24. Ooh, a little bit of an off track there for Bianchi. That's going to allow Peterson to close the gap up a little bit, gaining a couple of tenths in his favor. Callaway, again, the fastest lap of the race. He is hammering down lap times I think wants to build up as much of a gap as possible. Now Callaway historically has been extremely fast whenever he comes down pit road. Jacob Bramley is rolling out after his green flag stop. McAllister down pit road. And I think that's going to be, a little bit of an interesting track there. Leo Delmas came down pit road very early on lap 2. And now he's got Julian Medor, Andrew Neri right behind him. Looks like Delmas building up a little bit of a gap over there over Medor and Neri. Neri trying to close up behind now Callaway. That's interesting. Callaway just shows, there we go, he's completed his stop. So 2 laps later than Ray Aguilar. Looks to hold about a 3.5 second advantage. Let's see, once they're both up to pace here, what that is. Right now it's showing 3.3, so that should be fairly accurate. But Callaway is going to take him a little while to warm up those tires. But it seems like he's going to hold on to a 3-second gap here over Aguilar. Aguilar was 7/10 faster on pit road, in his pit stall I should say, than Aguilar. Your top 4 drivers, Zuhair, Bianchi, Peterson, and Morris, the only drivers yet to box here in this feature event. I agree with 007 here as well, saying the tires must be sliding around a little bit if drivers are pitting at the halfway mark. And starting to Bianchi, Nick Peterson down pit road, so we might be having a little bit more tire wear than we've seen in races past. I wonder how that's going to play out for somebody such as Leo Delmas sitting in 9th, who came down pit road for a massive undercut just 2 laps into this feature event. Callaway and Aguilar are going to move up to 3rd and 4th as Bianchi and Peterson roll out of pit road together. That puts Beaver back into 5th. And Aguilar's closing the gap here to Callaway. He's got it back down to 1.7 seconds. Again, the top 2 drivers will still need to come down pit road, so that, barring any sort of incident, should put Callaway back in the race lead. Callaway, I've got to say, it's got to be a massive relief to get that win in the sprint and then be running so well here in the feature after a season of just terrible luck for that number 1. I think he's been rear-ended as many times as he's podiumed in that machine. But Aguilar's hungry. Has closed the gap down to a 2nd. Shazi Zuhair comes down pit road. Something, though, has happened to Antonio Bianchi. The Italian Stallion has wadded up the 17 machine. He backs off the racing line, so he's going to be taking a tow. That thing was absolutely destroyed. Pushes wide, all in the gravel, tries to catch it, and just plows the front end of the safety barrier. Somehow still rolling around. Shazi Zuhair, Willie Morris down pit road. That puts Callaway back in the race lead, but Aguilar just set the fastest lap of the race with a 125.61, a 10th faster than Callaway's fastest lap so far. Another off track. Gareth McAllister finds himself taking an alternative route here at Mugello. A full 360, a massive blink thanks to Australian internet, and then just keeps on chucking along like nothing mattered. But look at the lap traffic Callaway's about to start hitting. If he gets caught up in traffic at all, that's going to give Aguilar a big moment to strike here. And that is McAllister just ahead. Now McAllister, a veteran here at League Zero, he'll see the blue flags and quickly hop out of the way as soon as Callaway and Aguilar catch up here. And somehow Antonio Bianchi has been able to limp that number 17 machine down pit road. Tricycling around the circuit. Gareth McAllister also down pit road. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a battle for the lead on our hands. As we're 8 laps left to go, Aguilar has closed the gap rather quickly. He's going to take a peek to the inside line here. Callaway is going to make him fight for every inch. Despite Callaway being rear-ended so many times this season, I don't think he's going to be one to balk at competition. He's going to be right there in the fray and giving it absolutely everything he's got. Callaway, a racer that just loves to race, and Aguilar right there with him. If we can get these two linked up, it is going to be a very high-speed game of cat and mouse. And at this point, I'm not sure which one's the cat. Both drivers so extremely quick whenever they get out on track. And it looks like fairly open air for the two of them, so it's going to be a little while before they run into traffic, if they even do at this point. So I'm curious to see. Aguilar spent that time catching up to Callaway. Is he going to push here or just kind of take it easy like he did in the opening part of the sprint? Now that lap prior, he showed Callaway a wheel going into turn 1. Does he repeat it here? He's about 3/10 back. I don't see Aguilar on the push to pass. So that means the start-finish line draft good for about 2/10 before turn 1. Callaway again guards the inside line. Aguilar kind of looked for a high-low move, not able to make it happen as Callaway running the defensive line here. So I think Aguilar is kind of measuring up Callaway, seeing how much ground he can gain at the start-finish line. Both drivers have push-to-pass available to them here. So I think if I was a wagering man, I think they're going to be saving that for the final lap, and especially that start-finish line. I'll be curious to see. I don't think Callaway is going to get on the button before then. Not wanting to use up too much push to pass when Aguilar is shown he can gain 3/10 on that straight just by using the draft. So let's see where both drivers are coming to the final corner as far as what the split is. It's going to be about 3/10 between them. Let's see what happens going into turn 1. About 3.5 between Callaway and Aguilar. Let's see what Aguilar can close down here. Callaway tries to break the draft. Here comes Aguilar, so it's worth about 3/10 just on the draft. As we see that 72 machine tucking back in behind Callaway. So I think Aguilar is weighing and measuring Callaway, getting ready for those final few laps. I can't imagine Aguilar is going to make too big of a shot of it here before the white flag. So you're riding on board with the points leader, Aguilar. He is measuring up Callaway, the current defending champ. And it looks like Aguilar is going to be a little bit closer. So I think Aguilar is really working on that final corner to get the best drive possible. And now, both drivers on the push to pass. Callaway trying to break the draft. Oh, and a big move there by Callaway. Trying to get on his preferred line, but Aguilar was right there. It's going to set Aguilar up for the left-hander. Who's going to come out on top here as we're side by side for the lead? Aguilar pulls ahead by just barely anything. Callaway right on the gearbox of Aguilar. The first time tonight, the Tuscan Grand Prix, Aguilar is going to be out front that 72 machine. And we also had another crash reported. It's going to be Andrew Neri, the number 64. Has a crash followed by an off track. But they got off a little bit offline, and thankfully where he ended up was off the surface. I think that was Jacob Bramley who made his way around the pirouetting 64 of Neri. So let's see. Now, I'm not sure if that was going to be a wise move from Aguilar, because now it's going to give Callaway a chance to fire back into turn one. Aguilar running more of an open line there through turn one. But now Callaway has the chance to measure up Aguilar and maybe return the favor here in the final laps. There's Gareth McAllister once again cutting the grass here in Italy. And now Aguilar looking to try and pull away here a little bit. Has about a half second up over Callaway. Now we know that start-finish line, if you can find yourself within about 3.5 tenths, you can be right there with the lead driver diving into turn one. We've seen both of these drivers playing with the push to pass. Aguilar is on it here. But look, Callaway staying right there with him, and he's not on the button. Callaway is able to gain about a tenth there on the start-finish line without the push to pass. That is a huge tell for what we could see late in the race. So that means both drivers really need to save some push to pass for that final lap if they're going to try and keep the other at bay. He who doesn't use the magic button might be at a loss for this one. Aguilar's pulled about 4 tenths over Callaway, so Callaway must have had a little bit of a bobble there. And right now, your two race leaders, the closest out on track. Something has happened to Callaway. He has fallen way off the pace. And is now a second back from Aguilar. Now, it's not a tire wear issue, I don't think, because Callaway has 2 lap fresher tires underneath that number 1 machine. So what is the play going to be here for Callaway? About 3/4 of a second back from Aguilar. Aguilar briefly on the push to pass, turns it off though. And Callaway was on the button for a little while longer, closes the gap back down to 3 tenths, so squarely in the draft here. So let us know from the spectator area, how do you think this one's going to play out? Does Callaway still have a shot at bringing home a win as he's 8/10 off the back of Aguilar? But it seems like Aguilar's really got his groove going here. And we haven't talked about Nick Beaver in a while as well. The number 87 machine still sitting proudly in third, but unfortunately for Beaver, he's almost 11 seconds back from the top two drivers. Yeah, good point as well. Shazi Zuhair has worked his way back up into fourth. And I believe in 5 laps, this is an interesting tidbit for the fans. In 5 laps, we have not seen a pass from any driver. The two closest now out on track are going to be Peterson and Craig Brick. Brick is our hard charger. Maybe, just maybe, Craig Brick's going to try and gain another spot. That would be 15 passes he's made here in the feature. Now we unfurl the white flag for Ray Aguilar as he holds a 1.25 second lead over Callaway. The white flag out here at the Tuscan Grand Prix. The current points leader up in first. The defending champ having a great run in second. Brick trying to measure up Peterson, looking for any opening he can find. Brick makes it happen. Peterson tries to fire back, and one. Brick locks it up there. Peterson's going to slide back up to the inside line, taking back over the 5th place spot. That's the only 2 passes we've had in 6 laps, ladies and gentlemen. So everybody very equal on pace. This is going to be a pretty wild shootout for that final top 5 position. But ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Ray Aguilar going to finish in the top spot, the number 72 machine. Jaden Callaway locks up second. And let's pan 11 seconds back. Here comes Nick Beaver to round out the top 3. What a great race from these guys. And Beaver clicks off the fastest lap of the race in the final lap, a 125.125. Beaver had some momentum going there. So a great race. Good to have a lot of the usual suspects up here in the top 3. We've got Beaver, we've got Callaway. Let's get everybody else up here. We're going to get these interviews started. Starting things off, Mr. Nick Beaver, the number 87 machine. Nick, the fastest lap of the race right there at the end.
I will take it. For as uneventful as the race was, at least I can walk away knowing I did that, at least.
Yeah, I mean, a clean race. Once you guys kind of got in a groove, it seemed like either single file or fairly spread out. We had a 5-lap period where there wasn't any passes out on track, and looked like you were enjoying a casual Italian track day out there.
Yeah, casual is a good way to put it. I was pushing so hard the entire time, just trying to keep with the front two. And for a while, I felt like I was within a tenth or two, maybe, but I was never faster, so that was a bummer. Either way, I was pushing to learn find the limits. And by the end there, I guess it paid off.
Yeah, I mean, making it happen, and that's just a testament to your driving ability, where you make it look so easy. For the rest of us, it looked like you were just kind of cruising out there.
Well, I do appreciate that. I felt like I was struggling a lot. Just trying to stay focused. Yeah, when you're running, 26 laps alone, it's easy to kind of fall into a cruise control. But I stayed disciplined throughout the whole thing, trying to learn as much as I could.
Well, always a quick study. Nick, always a great time having you up here on the podium, no matter what show we're putting on. And before I let you sign off and unwind from that one, who do you want to give a shout out to that helped you bring home the third?
I just want to shout out to Ray and Jaden. Congratulations on the top two. It looked like the race up there was pretty close and a lot of fun. So good job, guys. Thanks for League Zero putting this on. Always a lot of fun. And then again, Hannah, thank you again, even though she's here.
Hey,
but
big
thank
shout out
you.
to Hannah. Without her, none of this is possible.
That's right. That's right, James. Thank you.
I got you. That'll be $5. Nick, great job having you back up here, and hope to have you back up here in the following weeks, my friend.
All right. Looking forward to it. Thanks, James.
Thank you, sir. That was Nick Beaver. What a great guy. Finishing in third here today. Up next, Jaden Calloway. Got your groove back, a great run, a clean car, no rear end incidents on that number one. You've got to be pleased to finally be walking away with some great points here tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really happy about that. Of course, I'd like to win, but it was a great night regardless. I got the win in the sprint and had a really good fight with Ray in the feature, so I'm happy.
Yeah, it's been too long since we've seen you guys have a proper race out on track. Either you have bad luck, Ray has bad luck, sometimes you hit each other, and I've got bad luck, but it's really cool seeing you guys actually get to drive wheel to wheel and properly race out here.
Yeah, definitely. He's super, super fast, so it's always a blast trying to get past him or defend him, and usually we have pretty clean races. I think Monza was just a one-time thing.
Well, glad to see you guys back out of here, put on a great show. And now this is a relatively new track. I mean, I didn't have it until the show started here tonight. How much seat time did you put in the circuit before coming out here tonight?
I put in a little bit of practice, but I've been focusing on Bathurst this week, to be honest.
Yeah, that one's going to be grueling for you guys. That's going to be way tougher than any bad luck open wheel race you've had here at League Zero, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be rough, but we'll keep pushing, and it should be fun.
Well, this is kind of outside the scope, Jaden, but tell me about the team you guys have put together for the weekend. Who's all on it? Who's driving what stint? We want to know more about your Bathurst adventure, and are any of you guys going to be streaming it on Twitch or anything?
Yeah, I'll be streaming it on Twitch for sure. So basically, I race in an endurance team, and originally my teammate's brother was supposed to race with us, but he didn't have the license and he didn't have time to grind it out, so it just came down to the two of us. Shaji messaged me a few days ago saying he and Adam were going to do the race, so I just invited them to race with us, and we're teamed up now.
That's going to be a really cool team to watch. And Jaden, you forgot the most important part. Where can myself and the viewers here tonight watch your point of view for this endurance?
Yeah, I'll be streaming it on Twitch. My Twitch is Zen, XEN_37.
Awesome. Jaden, best of luck tomorrow. Great having you back-to-back podiums here tonight. A great points night. And before I let you go, who do you want to give a shout to that you can thank for the great results here this evening?
Yeah, I'm going to thank my friends and family watching and supporting my team, Squid Gang Racing, and I'm going to shout out Ray. That was an awesome battle.
Awesome. Jaden, always a pleasure, buddy. Congratulations again, and best of luck this weekend.
Thanks.
That was Jaden Calloway bringing it home in the number 2 spot. Up next, the man, the myth. Can't say that anymore. Ray Aguilar, welcome back to the top spot, buddy.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. I'm glad I got to. I was trying to set myself up in the sprint to do better in the feature, and it worked out at least somewhat.
Now, we talked to Jaden about it. It's been too long since we've seen you and Calloway have a good old-fashioned proper race out on track. Either one of you guys has issues. Sometimes you bounce into each other. You both have issues. But how much fun did you have actually racing each other out there?
That was awesome. The whole time I kept thinking, all right, if I can't get in front, it was at least a fun fight because it was just about every lap we were trying different routes through turn 1 to see what we could do, and he's like the defender of the century, man. He's like, it's nearly impossible to try to pass that kid.
And it seemed like as well, the draft and the start finish line extremely strong for you guys. I think at one point you were in the lead on the push to pass, and Callaway was able to use the draft and stay right there with you into turn 1.
Yep, when you're within, 6-7 tenths and you're getting a good toe, the push to pass doesn't do anything. It sort of equalizes a bit, but you're basically just giving the guy behind you push to pass is what I figured out. So I had to burn a lot of mine in the beginning of the race to stay with him. He was way quicker on heavier fuel. So I had to burn a lot up then just to stay with. But I think the second stint I started finding some feet. There's a good chance I was going to crash if we had a couple more laps. I was definitely on edge.
Well, it seemed like it was a great race between you two guys. Pretty similar pit strategies. How are the tires feeling at the halfway mark? It seems like in races past, we've seen you guys either gravitate towards a later race pit stop. Was the tire wear something you guys were having a fight here tonight?
Yes, it was starting to fall off about midway, and I was trying to come in maybe lap 15 or 16 and had kind of a bobble. I was gonna lose the toe, so I came in earlier, but it didn't work. I came through the stops when Jaden finally came in. I was 4 seconds back, trying to figure out how to do that. I got lucky with a lapper too. A lapper kind of held him up a good half second, so I was able to burn off about 3 of those, and then I got helped out another half a second by somebody, by some nice individual out there who apparently really likes me.
Well, everybody likes you, Ray. That's why you're the number 72 and current points leader.
There you go. That's what I have written on my wall. That's what my mom says to me. So yeah.
The years of therapy finally paying off. Ray, it's fantastic having you in the back in the top spot. A great race between you and Callaway, start to finish. A lot of fun for us to watch and call the action. And you've got the privilege, the pleasure, the final send-offs of the night. Who do you want to give a shout out to that helped make this win possible for you?
My teammate really bringing it home this week. He kind of had some bad luck, but he actually put some time in and is doing a lot better. I want to thank Nick Peterson's dad, who often watches me and cheers me on. I think he likes me more than Nick. And my wife, family, and friends who all help me get here during the week and keep me motivated to do this stuff each week.
Awesome. Ray, always a pleasure, buddy. Congrats on the big win, and hope to have you back up here next week.
Thanks, James. I love you.
I love you too, buddy. That was Ray Aguilar bringing it home in the top spot. He was accompanied by Mr. Jaden Callaway in second, and Nick Beaver rounding out the top 3. On behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting and LeagueZero.net, my name has been James East. Thank you all so much for spending your Thursday night with us, supporting the drivers, supporting the league, as well as supporting the broadcast. We couldn't do without you, and I'll see you back same time, same place next week. Have a great night, everybody.